Hey guys, it's me, math teacher. Tuesday's work. All right. Remember, I got to keep this below a certain time, so we got to get started. There's a lot of notes. Okay, so be ready. Guys, you need to be working on this stuff. One thing that I noticed, your fractions, your slopes, they're technically not fractions. They can be reduced like fractions, but you do not need to put them into mixed numbers. Keep them, I know that y'all have been trained to take an improper fraction and change it to a mixed number. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't need to do that, okay? I so wish I was in the classroom teaching you this. I may have to find other videos that will help with the slope thing. You do need to get started on your IXL because that is a lot of help there since I can't be in the classroom with y'all and do any one-on-one. This stuff can be tricky, but you will get it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. 9.6. This is the slope, intercept, form. All right, slope, intercept, form. What you need to learn is first the y-intercept. Y-intercept. I'm putting a star there. I'm recording. Okay, so there's a star there. Y-intercept. That is very, very important. It's the point where a line crosses the y-axis. Okay? I'm going to give you examples in a minute. Okay, the x-intercept. Now, I have to tell you, x-intercept, you have to learn what an x-intercept is. The y-intercept. That is the most important, though. The x-intercept is the point where a line crosses the x-axis. Okay? All right, to be able to find these, therefore, the y-intercept can be found by substituting 0 for the x in the equation, and then solving for y. Okay, so for example, I should have a drawing here. I don't. So for example, as far as the y and x-intercept, let me draw you a little thing here. That's your Cartesian plane. Let's say this red pen is your line. This is your x-axis. This is your y-axis. So look here, the point where a line crosses the x-axis, here's the line. It crosses the x-axis right here. That is the x-intercept. Does that make sense now? Yeah, I bet so. So the y-intercept is the point where a line crosses the y-axis. Here's the y-axis, and the line crosses it right there. So if I had this actually on graph paper, you'd be able to do the ordered pair for here and here. And those are your x and y intercepts. Okay? Now I'm going to explain to you later on why the y-intercept is more important. Because in algebra, that right there is huge. Okay, so we can find all this stuff by substituting 0 in certain places, and then you can solve for the other letter. And I'm going to show you that. For example, let's find the x and y intercepts given 2x plus 3y equals 6. Okay, so there's your equation. Okay, that is your equation. Okay, so we're going to try to find the y-intercept first. All you have to do is sub 0 in that x. We're going to sub 0 right there. See, that x is now 0. Rewrite the rest of my equation. 2 times 0 is 0. What we really have is 3y equals 6. Now, intruder alert, we need to isolate the variable. The 3 is right next to the y, so it's multiplying. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. Those cancel out. Y equals 2. There is my y-intercept. There you go. That's the y-intercept. Now, let's say we want to find the x-intercept. This time we're going to replace. It's 2x plus 3, and this time we're going to replace that y with a 0. Okay, we're going to substitute the y with the 0 equals 6. So 3 times 0 is 0, so it's 2x plus 0 equals 6. When in reality we have 2x equals 6. By intruder alert, we need to do the isolating the variable. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. And I'm left with x equals 3. So then that is my intercept. Now it is written like this because x is 0. See how I did the x 0? And y is 2. That's really how it's written. Okay, and then this one, x is 3, and remember the y we put as 0. And that's how it's written. And if you notice, like right here, the x-intercept, y is 0 because it doesn't go up or down. For the y-intercept, x is 0 because it doesn't go left to right. But guys, your teacher is not going to be all that upset if you cannot remember to write it this way. I just need you to be able to find it. I need you to understand the concept and be able to find the x and y intercept. If you do not write it this way, it's okay. Not going to sweat it. All right? Okay. All right, now here's the biggie. I mean, this is huge. This you're going to see. In fact, my Algebra 1 students laugh because they have this memorized from last year. You're going to be, from here on out, dealing with this formula more than anything else. You're going to be able to do this in your sleep by the time I'm done with you, even though you're at home and I'm here. Slope, intercept, formula. You need to have this memorized. Memorize, memorize, memorize. You need to have this memorized. It is y equals mx plus b. See, look at all these stars. What does that tell you? It's pretty important, okay? That slope-intercept formula, guys, the only way to graph a line or inequality or anything is by that formula. That's it. That's it. You can do it some other ways, but they don't always work. This right here, you need to have memorized. You're going to need to know this for the rest of this year, for next year, for geometry, and algebra 2, and then some. This right here you will see probably even in college algebra. This right here, y equals mx plus b. If you can't remember the name slope-intercept formula, I don't care. We'll even refer to it as the y equals mx plus b formula. That's what's important, that you know this. Now, here's the thing. The m and the b, that is important to know. M. Guys, I cannot stress this enough that you've got to have this memorized. Ask any of the Algebra 1 students. M is your slope. Not mx. I don't have corona. Maurice, I do not have corona. Anyway, it's not mx. I still have Algebra 1 students that when I say, what is the slope? They'll tell me, like, whatever's here, and they'll include the x. No, 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 no. It is just the m. Just the m. Just the m. So slope is your m. Your b. That is your y-intercept. Do you see now why I said it's the most important, besides the x-intercept? Yeah, you gotta know that, but not as much as the y-intercept. Do you see an x-intercept in this formula for graphing the line? No. You see a y-intercept. So these two things, boys and girls, I think I have driven this home as to the importance. You have to have that memorized. I mean, for survival in any algebra class, memorize this. Take a screenshot with your brain. This. If you can memorize this, you're gold. Something I need to put on here that I don't know why I didn't ever put on my last ones. Another star. Ooh, I'm putting 5 stars here. Always graph. No. How should I put this? Graph. Oh yeah, I can do that. The B y-intercept first. Okay. Now, you're probably not going to do a lot of that. I don't know. We'll see. I can't remember. But this right here, you got to remember. So when you're graphing, if you have this equation, you're going to put the y-intercept on your graph first. Then you're going to do everything else. Okay? And I'll show you. On my proto page, there is a thing called the Roach game. Besides IXL that is very useful, that is too. It's on the proto page. Okay, so for your class, under the 7th grade pre-algebra tab, this chapter, which is chapter 9, you will find the Roach game, and it's kind of fun, and it's very useful. My students have always liked it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on the examples. Let's say you were given line crosses the y-axis at 0, -2. That's your y-intercept, by the way. And the slope is 4. All right. Therefore, we want to create an equation with that. So we're going to use, that's all they gave you. And they want you to write down the equation that goes with this. Knowing that the y-axis, the line crosses the y-axis at this, that's your y-intercept. Okay? And the slope is 4. You're using this formula. Okay? All we're going to do is plug in the information. You don't need to worry about the x or the y. You've got 4. That's your slope. That goes in place of the m. And this is your y-intercept. It goes in place of the b. And there's your equation. See that? You're just plugging it in. There's your slope. And this is your y-intercept. Okay? Now your slope, when you're graphing, your slope should, it's useful to make it look like this. 4/1. Because you want it to do that rise over run. You know, go up 4 and then over 1 to the right. Okay? Remember those IXL links I assigned y'all? That's going to really help with all of this that I'm telling you. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, let's say they give you this. And they ask, what is the slope? And what is the y-intercept? Okay, well, the slope, remember, it's m, and the y-intercept is b. And I tell my students this all the time, write down the formula. If you rewrite it on top, you will see that the m is 3. And the b is -2. Okay? So your slope is just 3, not 3x. Notice I don't have 3x. Your y-intercept is -2. Not just 2, but -2. Okay. If the equation is not in slope, intercept form, solve for y to get it in that form. Remember, y equals mx plus b. Notice I'm writing this over and over and over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over and over, because you've got to have it drilled into your head. So for example, again, I'm going fast because I have a time limit. So if you need to pause, go ahead. 2x minus y equals 10. All right. Is that in y equals mx plus b format. See, I'll even say slope-intercept. So remember, it's got to look like this. Does that look like that? No, it does not. So we have to rearrange things to get it to look like this. So look at this and say, what do we need to move first? Well, I'm going to move this 2x over the equal sign to this side because 2x is on this side of the equal sign. So I'm subtracting 2x on both sides because this is positive, so this would be negative. And I get negative y. Don't forget that negative. Negative y equals negative 2x plus 10. Guys, the negative 2x has to come first before that 10. See, the x comes before that. So this has to come before this. Okay? Now, notice that negative sign. No negative there. So what happens is, whoops, I take that negative away. This negative 2x becomes positive 2x. That positive becomes negative 10. And there's your equation. Do opposite signs for entire equation when y is negative all by itself. Okay? Now, question. What is the slope? Think for a minute. What is the slope out of this equation? It's 2, or 2 over 1. What is the y-intercept, which is b? It's negative 10. Okay? You have to be able to identify the slope and the y-intercept. That 2 is the slope, not 2x. That negative 10 is your y-intercept. Okay, now that you have an understanding, we're going to start doing some examples, and I will graph along with these things later on. Okay? You are going to be graphing. Make sure you get that graph paper and rulers out. Neatness counts. Okay? Neatness is going to count a lot because really it's going to be hard to get the correct answers if you don't have the graph paper. That's why I was pushing for it all last week. All right, so examples, page 377. Start with number 2. Okay, it says find the x and y intercepts of the following lines. You're looking for the x and y intercepts. So they give you 3x minus 5y equals 30. Okay, so remember to look for the x and y intercept. And I don't know why kids always forget. We're going to be substituting zeros. So y-intercept, I'm going to rewrite this. We're going to substitute 0 right here. We're going to get the y-intercept, we're substituting 0 for x. 3 times 0 is 0, so we're left with negative 5y equals 30. Now we have to isolate the variable. We have to find out what y is. Being that these are together, we know you're multiplying, so the opposite is dividing, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 5. Those cancel out. My y-intercept is negative 6. So there's one of your answers. Okay? All right, so x-intercept, because you got to remember, we got to find that. And I'm shortening the word intercept, by the way. I'm rewriting my formula, or my equation. And this time, because we're looking for the x-intercept, I'm going to sub a 0 in that y. So I have 3x minus 5 times 0, see we're substituting, equals 30. Negative 5 times 0 is just 0. So I'm left with 3x equals 30. I have to solve for that x, isolate the variable. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And I'm left with x equals 10. There is my x-intercept. Now, if you were to give me just these two things right here, you're good. I'm happy. I'm not going to nitpick your answers. I'm just happy you got the answers and you understand this. So let's not be crazy on what, my expectations are. But the official way to write it for the y-intercept at 0 and negative 6, again 0 for x because we substituted 0 there. Don't have Cronin worries. Okay, and then my x-intercept, it's 10 and 0. So this would be the official way of writing it. Again, Mrs. Rogers says this is okay because you have an understanding, all right? Now, what that is, let me show you. I'll do it right here. Now, you are not allowed to do this without graph paper or a ruler. These are just notes. So if your y is negative 6, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's negative 6. Put a dot there. X is 10. Oh dear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And put a dot there. And you don't have to do this. It did not tell you on that group. It did not tell you to graph it. I'm just showing you what we're doing, like a visual. So if you connect your dots, there's your line. And your x and y intercepts, there's your y-intercept and your x-intercept. That's where the line crosses the y-axis and the x-axis. Y-intercept is at negative 6. See that? 0 and negative 6. There you go. And then your x-axis, x-intercept, is right here on your x-axis. 10 and 0. 10, positive 10, and 0. See? There you go. All right, any questions? If so, rewind, and then if you still have questions, let me know. Okay, number 4. That equation is x plus y equals 8. Okay, so let's find the y-intercept first. So x plus y equals 8. We're going to sub, because it's y-intercept, we're going to sub 0 in for the x. Well, 0 plus y is just y, so y equals 8. There's your y-intercept. Now, your x x-intercept. I'm going to rewrite my equation. This time we're going to sub the y for 0. X plus 0 equals 8. Well, that one's just going to be x equals 8. There's your x-intercept. So again, if you give me these answers, I'm happy. If you want it official, 0 and 8, and 8 and 0. I don't care. Just get me one or the other. Alright, moving right along. So number 8. It says find the slope and y-intercept of the following lines. So you're going to have two answers, boys and girls. Those others you did too, but this time you are as well. So here's the equation for 8. Now the first thing you need to ask yourself, is this in y equals mx plus b format? Is it? Does this look like this? Yes, it does. So we're good to go. So now all you need to do is tell me what the slope is, which is m, and the y-intercept, which is b. Okay? Now remember, if you don't remember which one's which, write it above it. Right above it. So now you know that the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 4. And there's your answer. Okay? Now, did it say the graph? No. But I want to show you something, because you're going to be doing a lot of graphing. I'm going to show you on graph paper. Hold on. Okay, and if this video stops and I have to make 2 videos, then find the second one. So number 8. Since we're not in the classroom together, I am going to have to do a little bit more work on getting y'all ready. Here's my Cartesian plane. By the way, each of these lines are a number. I don't want to see any messiness. So if you're, what did I tell y'all earlier that you need to mark first? Y-intercept. Y-intercept goes first. It's positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You put your dot there first. That y-intercept goes first. Okay? Slope is 2. Slope is 2, which is 2 over 1. So then from here, you start here, you go 1 up 2, because remember it's 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. Up 2, so you're right here, 1, 2, and then the bottom number is 1. There you go. Now you connect. And there's your graph. That's how that's done. Okay, if you need to, rewind this. So your y-intercept was 4. See that? Y-intercept's 4. Your slope was 2. But when you're doing the slope, you need to put it over 1 like that, if it's all by itself. Okay, let's do another one. 10. 10 is y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 8. Okay, is this in y equals mx plus b format already? Yes, it is. This is already ready to go. So, your slope, y'all should be pausing this by now, and writing it down and then seeing if you got it correct. Your slope is -3/2. Your y-intercept is right here. It's 8. And that's your answer. Okay? Let's do number 10 right here. Let's graph it. Because you're going to have to be able to graph these. Okay, so for 10, the slope was -3/2. Remember, that's rise over run. Your y-intercept is 8. What is the first thing I plot on here? Your y-intercept. That's first. Always, always, always. So that's your first dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That you put the dot there. Okay? Now you do your slope. It's -3, so we go down 3, not up. 1, 2, 3. And you start at that y-intercept. 1, 2, 3. And the bottom number is +2, so we're going to go right 2. And you can do it again. Start here. 1, 2, 3, and over 2. And then graph. And there you go. There you go. So that's graphing number 10. Okay? All right. I'm going to keep going. If this video thing stops, please know that I'm going to be doing another one, and it's going to be part 2 because you need to get all this in. All right, so 12. They tell you to, it says change the following equations to slope-intercept form and graph. So it's 3x minus 8y equals 16. Notice that y equals mx plus b. That is not in the correct format. It does not look like this. No. So we got to rearrange things. So we have to move this 3x to the other side of this equal sign, just like this x, mx, is on this side. So I'm going to subtract on both sides. And I'm left with -8y equals, remember this comes first, plus 16. Now, you cannot leave that like that. You cannot. No, 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 no. So we have to get rid of the 8 because the y has to be all by itself. Y all by itself. Okay, so I'm going to divide by -8, but I have to divide everything by -8. Everything. This cancels out, and I'm left with y equals, hey, some of you got this one wrong. Negative over negative gives you a positive. Positive 16 divided by -8, -2. There's your equation. Sorry. What is your slope? Which is m. It's 3/8. Rise over run. Your y-intercept, which is your b, is -2. You're going to need that. All right, 12. Okay, for 12, my slope was 3 over 8, and my b was -2. That's all I need to know. So -2, remember that's your first thing. So -2, 1, 2 on the y-axis. Now my slope is 3 over 8, positive. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And connect the dots. This section does tell you to graph, so you're going to have to graph it. Now you people see why you have to have graph paper. Because every one of these lines is a different number. You must do that. I don't want to see a bunch of little lines here. No, I won't give you credit for it. Okay? You got to learn how to do this. And you got to be able to count appropriately. So you got to have the graph paper for the spaces. Okay, guys? Again, you have to have it. I'm not telling your parents to go out and buy it. But since I mentioned this last week, by now it's Tuesday. Y'all should already have it, or I should have already heard from parents saying that they needed me to go get it for them. So now, that's y'all's responsibility. Okay. You can also, Google it and print it up on your printer. I mean, truly, you can do that too. So you don't even have to go buy anything. All right. So let's do 14. Same thing. Here's your equation. They want you to rearrange it to look like this. So we're going to move the 7x. And I'm left with -2y equals -7x plus 14. We need to get rid of that -2. Since it's multiplying, we have to divide everything by -2. I'm left with y equals negative and negative, give me positive. 7 over 2x. 14 divided by -2 is -7. There's my equation. That's your answer. Slope. That's going to be your 7 over 2. Your y-intercept, that's going to be -7. Okay? Now we graph it. Yes, boys and girls, you are using rulers or any straight edge that you can find in your house. But you are doing it, okay? Because I want nice, neat slopes and whatnot. So there's your slope. There's your y-intercept. All right? So we go down. If your y-intercept is -7, remember that's the first thing you do. -7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put your first dot. And it's on the y-axis. And then your slope is 7 over 2. It's positive. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then over 2. If it was -7, you'd go down. If it was -2, you'd go left. Remember that. So then connect your dots. There you go. Hopefully your graph looks like mine. Hey, let's see. I think I've done enough of those. I am going to have you do a couple. Uh, 19 through 24 in the next section are done just like what we've been doing, but you need to make sure you graph. You're just rearranging things, okay? Same thing. you're doing the exact same thing. So like, for example, 20. I'll do one more. And I think you got it. They give you the equation, and they just tell you to graph it. Use the slope interval to graph the following lines. What is your slope? It's a half. What is your y-intercept? -1. Now, this is already in y equals mx plus b format, so you don't have to rearrange it like you did up there. Okay? So now we graph. Oh boy. So 20 is the last one, guys. Hang in there. Looks like this. All right, so your slope was 1/2. Your y-intercept was -1. What is the first thing we plot on the graph? Excuse me, your y-intercept, -1. Here's -1. Put your dot there. Your slope is 1/2. So you go up 1, it's positive, and over 2, it's positive. Remember, if it's negative, you go down or to the left. So now you cross, you connect dots. You could even keep going. 1/2. 1/2. And you have a more precise line. There you go. Okay? All right, you guys are going to be doing page 377. That's terrible. And you're going to be doing numbers 1 through 13 odd. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that's 12 problems right there. Read the directions carefully so you know what you're doing. You need to do a lot of graphing for practice, okay? I would make you do a lot more in this section, but I'm not going to. So therefore, you need to practice this graphing. It's very, very, very important. Yeah. Okay. 1. That's not 21. Okay. Don't do 21. In fact, I'm going to have you go ahead and go to 29. I'm changing that. Don't do 21. Okay, skip it. It's weird looking. We can talk about that another time, okay? All right, also, you have your IXL is due Monday. You have a test Monday, okay? So be ready, start studying. And let's see, this is due Wednesday, okay? Alrighty then. All right, I think that's it. Okay, guys. Talk to you later. See you tomorrow. Let me know if you need any help. Bye.